extra.
Is it fun?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Absolutely not?
Zero fun, sir.
All right, listen up. I'm Coach Boone. I'm going to tell you all about how much fun you're going to have this season. You have to have a vision.
I do love a locker room. Smells like potential. And am I getting notes of Axe body spray?
Spot on, Coach.
Today we continue our series of video essays where we explore mentors, advisors, masters. We discuss teachers. The lessons teachers impart can vary in style or tactic. We've seen the disciplinarian in John, the reflective, experiential teacher in Hama, who used the past to give her student a leg up. And here with Aang and Bumi, an implicit teaching style that conveys a concept without the student even realizing that they're actively engaged in the lesson. Today we explore Avatar Book 1, Episode 5, The King of Omashu. We are back in Book 1. Aang and Team Avatar are headed north. However, Aang, still filled with the youthful zeal to engage in adolescent thrill-seeking, such as riding a giant koi fish, decides to stop at the Great Earth Kingdom city of Omashu.
The Earth Kingdom city of Omashu. I used to always come here to visit my friend Bumi.
Wow. We don't have cities like this in the South Pole.
They have buildings here that don't melt.
Well, let's go, Slowpokes. The real fun is inside the city.
Aang and Team's exploits in the city are seen as disorderly. They are given an audience with Omashu's king, King Bumi, and then thrown into confinement. Aang awakens to find Sokka and Katara gone, and now King Bumi challenges Aang to 3 tests in exchange for the safe release of his friends.
We're in serious trouble. This guy is nuts.
Tomorrow, the Avatar will face 3 deadly challenges. But for now, the guards will show you to your chamber.
My liege, do you mean the good chamber or the bad chamber?
The newly refurbished chamber.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
The one that used to be the bad chamber. Until the recent refurbishing, that is. Of course, we've been calling it the new chamber, but we really should number them. Take them to the refurbished chamber that was once bad.
This is a prison cell? But it's so nice.
You did say it was newly refurbished.
Nice or not, we're prisoners.
I don't have time for your crazy games. Give me my friends back. We're leaving.
The student. So here we find a determined Aang forced to participate in these challenges and these games that he's not interested in participating in, but will do so in order to save his friends from the creeping crystal that holds Katara and Sokka captive. And in this situation, Aang does not know that even now he's being taught. So he has a posture where he's able to receive the instruction, or at least experience the instruction through his activity without even knowing it. He has a singular objective that makes it easier for him to absorb the things he's being taught. The type of instruction is through action, through experiences. It isn't something he's being told and then asked to repeat and do on a ongoing or repetitive basis, the same way you would to discipline a new tactic into someone's being. He's being asked to think on his feet, to think on the fly.
It seems I've lost my lunchbox key and I'm hungry. Oh, there it is. Would you mind fetching it for me? Ooh, climbing the ladder. No one's thought of that before. keep diving head in. I'm sure it'll work eventually.
There, enjoy your lunch. I want my friends back now.
And now we have the teacher, King Bumi. At the time of the original airing, and for those who are watching this episode for the first time upon first watch, the identity of the king is played as a mystery, but it is heavily foreshadowed that the young boy that Aang remembers from his time in Omashu is King Bumi. So we know immediately that King Bumi knows and loves and cares about Aang, even though Aang does not recognize him. Aang does not expect his friend from 100 years ago to still be alive, let alone be the King of Omashu. So with that and his ability to teach Aang and guide Aang without Aang knowing, allows him to impart a lesson that Aang is not explicitly engaged in. He's implicitly engaged in it. He's able to motivate Aang by seemingly putting his friends in danger, although he never truly does. The final challenge to Aang is for Aang to tell King Bumi what his name is, and based on the nature of the challenges, Aang is then able to determine that the man in front of him is actually his friend Bumi from 100 years ago.
Back to the challenges. I got a key from a waterfall, I saved his pet, and I had a duel.
And what did you learn?
Well, everything was different than I expected.
And...
Well, they weren't straightforward. To solve each test, I had to think differently than I usually would. I know his name. I solved the question the same way I solved the challenges. As you said a long time ago, I had to open my brain to the possibilities. Bumi, you're a mad genius.
Oh, Aang, it's good to see you. You haven't changed a bit. Literally.
In explaining the teacher, I explained most of the dynamic. Bumi knows Aang, he cares for his student, and that emotion, those feelings, create a level of intentionality and motive behind the instruction that is pure. And because Aang is driven by his objective to save his friends, his ability to take the indirect lessons, the implicit directions, is genuine as well. But what I will also say about Bumi is something we learn by watching additional episodes to follow. The lessons he's imparting to Aang are life lessons beyond the specific discipline of earthbending. And what I mean by that is we learn at a later time through Toph that earthbending requires a steadfastness, a directness that Aang does not have. And while as an airbender, he learns how to evade or find compromises, he also needs to learn how to look at things from a different angle. And that is what Bumi is teaching him, how to be, quote unquote, a mad genius. And he tells Aang that he will need this in his fight to come against the Fire Lord, that typical airbender tactics won't work. So kudos to Bumi for imparting life lessons and not really being stuck in the world of earthbending, knowing that there's value outside of that one discipline. And we also see Iroh later on talk about borrowing from different disciplines when he's teaching Zuko about multiple elements.
Your final test is a duel. And as a special treat, you may choose your opponent. Point and choose.
So you're saying whoever I point to, that's the person I get to fight?
Choose wisely.
I choose you.
Wrong choice. I was a frail old man, but I'm the most powerful earthbender you'll ever see.
Can I fight the guy with the axe instead?
There are no take-backsies in my kingdom.
So you've grown accustomed to me saying this is one of my favorite episodes, and while I love this episode, it happened in a time, as I said earlier, where the content skewed younger, which is fine. So there were a lot of gags, a lot of jokes. The pacing wasn't as intense as it would be in later episodes. But as far as teachers, Bumi is great. He's one of the first teachers who actually cares about Aang, as I've said before. The way he instructs Aang is, again, implicit. It doesn't beat him over the head. He's not bored by it because ultimately Aang doesn't even know that he's learning. Bumi is doing everything in Aang's best interest, but under normal circumstances, when you have just a passing relationship with your teacher, or your teacher is trying to fulfill their duty but doesn't have a close personal relationship to the student, sometimes throwing a kid into the fire or a student into the fire without them knowing can be dangerous. It can be I don't want to use the word traumatizing, but it can just be very stressful. It can be a stressor to the student. So under normal circumstances, you just don't want to throw a kid into the deep end of the pool without them actually knowing how to swim or knowing what tactics to use while in the water. But in this case, Bumi does a good job. It's fun. It forces Aang to think outside the box. And that will conclude this episode in our series on teachers, the King of Omashu, King Bumi, and Aang. Thank you for watching.
Look around you. What do you see? The mail system? Instead of seeing what they want you to see, you gotta open your brain to the possibilities. A package sending system? The world's greatest super slide. Bumi, you're a mad genius.